Hey, have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When CJ and I were trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions. How do I record an episode? How do I get my show into all the apps that people like to listen to? How do I make money from my podcast? The answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use too. And now Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. We use Anchor because we live over an hour away and it brings us together as if we're in the same room. The sound quality is better than Skype and more reliable too. So if you've always wanted to start a podcast and make money doing so, go to anchor.fm/start. That's anchor.fm/start to join us and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. We can't wait to hear your podcast.
We will not be held responsible for any hearing impairments or damage caused to you from excessive exposure to this sound.
Hey CJ, remember that one time?
Oh yeah, it was fucking epic.
You're listening to
Remember That One Time
the Inappropriate Storytime Podcast
with CJ,
and Chris.
and these are not your mama's fairy tales.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is Remember That One Time with your host,
And
Chris.
CJ.
And today we are going to talk about kids. For once, it's not going to be like, kids suck, they're the worst thing on the planet, I hope all kids die.
Okay, wait,
which
hang on.
we don't
If
hope
that's
all
not-
kids
if
die.
That's not what we're talking about, then I'm gonna have to rewrite my whole thing because that's totally what I wrote about.
Well, I mean, they're still assholes, but it's like kids are funny
Well, yeah, that's
assholes.
true.
That's what we're going to call this episode. Because even though they're complete jackasses and we don't want really anything to do with any of them, what we do see on occasion sometimes turns out really funny, and you can appreciate that they're just like miniature assholes. There's two
Like
things,
tiny drunk
or
humans.
two kinds of people. Exactly. There's always two stages of life where you can pretty much get away with anything, and that's when you're like 5 and younger or 85 and older.
Yes.
And they share very similar traits. Like they can shit on the floor and get away with it and call your mom a hooker, and it's perfectly fine. I don't have a very many because I'm not around kids barely at all, and I don't have friends that have kids like CJ does. And so I don't have like, oh, so and so's kid did this, so and so's kid. I just have some family that was growing up when I was a teenager or
Right.
so. And then I did come across a random one. I guess I'll start with that random one. So I've got a picture I'm going to put on our website and social media soon. And we were at, sorry, we got the funk. We were at O'Charlie's, I believe. And I look over after, there was this giant family of like this stressed out looking mom, this dad that didn't give a fuck about anything, and like 4 kids that were just like hanging off the ceiling. And when they left, there was this gigantic like hole in the paint in the wall. Like they literally peeled the paint off the wall, drywall and all.
Oh my god.
You'll see it in the photo. But like how much do you have to like ignore your kids for them to literally start tearing down the walls in an
Was there like
O'Charlie's?
alcohol at this table?
I mean, I don't
They like
think
drowning
so.
their sorrows. Like our kids are literally tearing down this restaurant. We're about to be kicked out of this
Yeah,
establishment. Might as well drink as much as we can right now.
right. It did not seem like they gave a fuck. You know, unfortunately, I see this a lot where you see moms or even dads sometimes that are just like so downtrodden because their kids are such big assholes, but they're so used to it, so they've completely given up and they let their kids just run
Yeah.
everything. And I think that that's kind of the situation that was here. They were like, I'm sorry that Timmy like broke your wall, but you
They're just like
know,
immune to the
kids will be
douchebaggery
kids.
because it's like they're just in it all the time. They don't even know how bad it is anymore because
Exactly. Like Braden killed the cat last week. You're lucky he's just tearing down your walls.
oh my
Like,
god.
you know. Um. So yeah, that was some crazy fuckery that we
I wonder
saw.
were they
But
like just what were they doing with the pieces? Just like throwing it on the floor or putting it in their food? Were they eating
I
it?
honestly I didn't get that close. It was a little scary, so I was just like, I'm gonna snap a picture of this because nobody is going to believe that I just watched these kids tear down an O'Charlie's wall.
you like you just like make sure that your sound is off. You're just like casually just like zooming in to this family
Hmm.
like
Oh yeah. Yeah, because at that point, I would rather them think that I'm being super creepy and taking selfies at an O'Charlie's than like documenting their child's destruction.
oh my god. Did you
Yeah.
happen to like see the like when the waiter came over to clean the table? Like, did she notice that there's like a giant hole in the wall?
Like the
Yeah,
exasperation.
like
No, I don't know. I didn't really pay that much attention. I just kind of took a look at it and was like, oh my God, take a picture. And then we left a couple of minutes later. But the rest of the night, I was like, can you believe this shit? Like, could you imagine having those kids
uh-huh.
going, like, does that happen everywhere they
Yeah,
go?
like how many
Like,
infrastructures have they destroyed? Like
exactly, do they go in Walmart and just like knock everything off the shelves?
probably.
They're
Uh,
the kind of kids that go into a Toys R Us and like sit down in the middle of an aisle and take every toy off the shelf and play with it and then like not put it back
yeah, that's no. See, like this is why you can't take kids to restaurants. You can't
anywhere.
take them into stores. Everything is just this giant to do. Like it's not just like a nonchalant like, okay, we're just going to go to the store for a minute. No, it's a thing. It's an event
Well,
every
yeah,
single time.
we you've got to like take them out of the car, put them in the buggy, depending on how old they are. Like it's a whole huge. I mean, if you have to deal with a car seat, God bless you. Just trying to keep them under control. I took my niece into some stores a couple of times, and I'm like, this is completely
It
exhausting.
is.
It's something I would never wish on my enemies. Like, and not just that, like in the beginning, you have to like get them dressed, put on their socks and shoes, get them loaded into the car. How did our
I don't
parents do it?
know.
Like, I don't
I have a
remember.
feeling,
I don't
I
remember
mean,
putting up such a
nowadays, I
fight.
don't think people really beat their kids enough. So for me, I mean, at least in my house, like, I did a bad thing one time, and that was it because I got my
Yeah,
ass beat. And it was like, okay,
yeah,
I
you learn
know
quick.
I'm never gonna fucking undo my car seat and get out of the car seat while the vehicle is in motion ever again because my mom literally pulled over. We're in like BFE in Kentucky. She like pulled over on the side of I-65 and beat my ass on the side of the interstate at like 2 in the morning because I got out of my car
Yep.
seat and I was like wiggling around down on the floor and shit, and I never did it again. My ass was in that car seat, and even after it was like easier for mom to just be like, okay, get out of your car seat. Nope, I ain't touching that buckle ever again because I just got my ass handed to me,
Right.
and I ain't never gonna forget it. But
Exactly.
nowadays,
Like I
like
don't
people
remember.
don't beat their kids anymore.
Yeah, I don't remember throwing that big of a hissy fit just for leaving the house.
Yeah.
Like, if someone says, hey, we're going to the store, I'm not going to throw myself in the floor screaming and crying, throw my shoes across the room, like, play hide and seek with my socks.
Right.
I don't get it. I,
I don't know.
it's
The
just
only
exhausting.
the only thing different I see is that nowadays it's like the kids run the show. And back in the day,
Yeah.
our parents ran the show. They were the boss. They were the parents, we were the kids, and now it's like, well, what do you want to do, little Timmy?
Yeah, they're trying to be more
Like
cooperative, treating them like
like
an adult.
no, we don't negotiate with terrorists for a reason. Like,
Right?
no, I'm not going to sit here and bargain with a 5-year-old to try to get him to behave. You got two choices. You're going to behave or you're going to behave or I'm going to beat your
Right?
ass. But
exactly.
this is
You take the belt.
this is why I'm not a parent. CPS would be on my doorstep. I don't even have kids, and CPS is probably still going to be on my doorstep. They're going to hear this and they're going to be like, "Ma'am, you're going to have to move out of your house. You're not allowed to be within 100 feet of anybody's kids."
Right?
But I tell you
Crazy.
what, if I
Well,
had my
that was,
own kids, they would behave because they would have no choice.
I mean, it was recent, so it's in recent memory. I don't really recall any other crazy kid stories, like random kids. But when it comes to family, I've got two nieces and a couple of cousins. Now, I'm not really close to two of my cousins, so I don't really have any stories with them. But my other ones, my little cousin, I'm going to call him, well, I can call him by his real name. It's nothing bad. His name is Cody. We always called him Cody Bug. And when he was about maybe 4 or 5, he was way, way, way into WWE. And when I say way into it, like probably an unhealthy amount. This kid, it was during the Attitude Era. If you know anything about wrestling, that was when like The Rock and Stone Cold, they were like the super popular DX. That's what was running the show at the time. And the Rock was like the number one wrestler. He was hot shit. All the ladies wanted him, all the guys wanted to be him, and that included my 5-year-old cousin. And so they were in Walmart one day, and this lady, like they were getting ready to check out, and this rude ass bitch came and like cut in front of them really quick and got in the line before them. And please believe that kid stood up in his buggy and like looks right at her and goes, "I'm gonna lay the smack down on your candy ass." And like if you have no idea what I'm talking about, it's one of the phrases, just like the whole "Do you smell what the Rock is cooking?" He would always threaten to lay the smack down on people's candy asses. So yeah, Cody threatened to lay the smack down on this bitch at Walmart and let her know. And of course, my aunt was just like, at first she was mortified, but then she was like, the bitch kind of deserved it, and like gave him a
I
high
mean,
five.
did she get out of the way?
I have no idea. I don't know anything further than that. This happened like a solid 20 years ago.
I actually remember you telling me that story 20 years ago.
Yeah, it was something that I had to tell everybody. I'm like, yeah, that's right. My cousin's a badass, yelling at people in Walmart, threatening suplexes and drop kicks and
Wow.
shit.
Well, I mean, if there's
Yeah, this,
anywhere that you need to like publicly drop kick somebody, it's most likely going to be Walmart. Yep.
right? Well, this is also the same kid that would, um, he would do like suplexes off the back of his couch. And the apartment they were in had concrete floors. How this kid didn't like break his neck and die, there's no telling. But they would put like a mattress in the middle of the living room floor and beat the shit out of each other.
Damn.
Him and his brother.
Sounds serious.
Yeah, it was crazy. That, and while I'm on this subject of this kid, he's got so many. He's such a weirdo. There was one night that my aunt was watching Child's Play, the Chucky
Yeah.
movies, and of course she sent the kids up to bed because it's a scary movie and you don't want to terrorize the kids,
You don't?
traumatize the kids. That's what I'm looking for, right? Well, generally frowned upon. And he like snuck down the stairs to look at the TV because, of course, you remember when you were a kid, if anything was like off limits, that meant that it had to be awesome and you had to be a part
Right.
of it. Yeah, if the adults were in the other room talking adult, you had to get in on that because you needed to know what was so awesome that you had to be dispelled.
Right.
So he had snuck down there, and it had apparently mortified him to the point of trauma because she has a Chucky doll and it's been like sitting in the corner of her room. And of course, before he snuck down and looked at that, he didn't know what it was. It's just a doll. But then after he got a glimpse of that movie, he went back up the stairs and glanced in her room and saw that doll and just let out this blood curdling scream. And he did not sleep for like 3 days.
Bless him.
Yeah. So poor guy. And then a little bit recently, my niece, I don't know how many years ago was this. You were with us. It was probably, let's see, she's 8 now.
Sparta.
Yeah,
She was probably 3, I
yeah,
guess.
just about 3. So it's been a while. And I don't even remember the reason why I had her with me. I guess
Yeah,
just,
why did somebody leave her with us? Like, here, take this kid, take care of it.
I don't know.
And
I
we were just like,
occasionally,
we went all kinds of places around town with her. Like, we went to Enterprise, we went to Subway.
yeah,
I don't even know, like, we just had her with us.
I
I'm
don't know.
really not sure why.
She's usually a very well-behaved kid unless you let CJ like I don't want to say like spoil. That's not the word I'm looking for, but
Corrupt her
in
mind.
corrupt. That's it. Corrupt and influence her because she gave her this idea. Was it you that just like taught it to her, or did she just start doing it? I don't remember because I
I
know
think
she's never seen it.
somebody was just saying it a lot during that time. And
Oh,
I said it, and I thought it was funny. And she said it, and she was like, she thought, she just kept cackling because it was so funny. And I was like, we're going to milk this for all it's worth.
right. Well, what had happened? We were in the middle of Enterprise for whatever reason, and like CJ said, she was going off. The movie 300 had just recently come out, and so the phrase "This is Sparta" was like everywhere in memes and such. And so CJ had been saying it a million times. So of course, a kid being a kid picks up on it, and they're like, when somebody's laughing at something, if the kid does it, they'll laugh at the kid maybe once or twice, but then that kid will continue doing it
Right.
forever as long as there's a laugh. And so CJ taught her to do the kick with it too, like Leonidas like kicked somebody into this giant pit. So she walked around Enterprise Rent a Car for like a solid 20 minutes while we were waiting on stuff, kicking the air, yelling, "This is Sparta." But she couldn't pronounce the first A in Sparta, so it came out Sporta. So she kept running around, "This is Sporta." And it was the cutest thing ever.
Until
And
she
now that's
kicked
like
that
the
lady
only
in the
thing.
shin.
Well,
Then it
there's
wasn't
that.
cute anymore.
We had to put her in the car. I mean, not like
They were like, no
that
children
sounds
in
really
this
bad,
establishment. You're going to have to take that thing to the car.
right? And that sounds like bad, like take her in the car. It's not, I promise I did not like take her in the car and then lock her in a hot car for an hour
Yeah,
or
because it
anything
was
crazy
like the
like
middle of
that.
July.
Exactly. No, I mean, I went in the car with her. So it wasn't, it sounded really bad. I had to go lock her in the car because she wasn't being nice. It's like a punishment. Um, and a little bit before that, when she was a little bit younger, I don't know where she got it whatsoever, but and this is a super embarrassing story, and I'm going to tell this forever, and I might like put it in her graduation request in the, what do you call it? One of those things with pictures and shit.
Scrapbook?
Oh, the yearbook. The, oh, her yearbook.
Oh, okay. I
I'm
gotcha.
gonna embarrass the shit out of her. Yeah, I'm like, if they record a video, this story's going on it for her graduation
Okay.
and her wedding and everything else.
And it's going to be the
Um,
first story that they need to tell when she brings her first boyfriend home for dinner.
oh yeah, for sure. This is definitely the number one. We were sitting on the couch, just minding our own damn business, and she comes up and like looks at me with this like really sad, concerned look on her face. I'm like, "What's wrong, baby girl?" And she turns around, drops her pants, spreads her butt cheeks, and goes, "Aunt Kristen, my starfish is itchy and it hurts."
Oh my.
And I'm like, "What the fuck are you
She
talking
had to
about?"
have seen or heard something she was
Oh,
not supposed to.
you know what? Never mind. I got it wrong. I got it wrong. In the beginning, when she came up to us, she kept saying, "My starfish is itchy, my starfish hurts." And we couldn't figure out what the hell she was talking about. So she got all frustrated because we weren't getting it. And that's when she turned around and spread her cheek. She was like, "My starfish."
Oh
We were
my
like, "Oh,
god.
okay,
Like, she has
I
walked in
see."
on a situation that she was not supposed to walk in on. That's
Oh, yeah,
the only explanation for that. Because
exactly. I know that my brother's into some weird
I mean,
shit,
I
but
don't know. At that age, I never would have thought to just think that up on my own. Like, I'm just gonna call my butthole a starfish because that's what it looks like. Like, she was way too young to know, like, to come up with that on her own.
I don't know, man. Maybe she was doing some like extensive research on her own butthole. I don't know. Kids do weird shit.
Maybe.
Like,
Or you know how people have
especially
like
like,
little cutesy names for stuff, like instead of telling a kid like it's called a penis, they
oh, their
say
PP.
wee wee or whatever. Maybe
Yeah,
it's like one of those. Maybe she said butthole one day, and they're like, "Oh, it's not nice to say butthole. You should call it a starfish."
I guess I could actually see my brother doing something like that just to get a kick out of it.
Wow.
He would do something silly. So yeah, those are the ones. I'm sure there will be many, many, many more to come. Oh, no, this is ridiculous. If we're going to talk about kids being assholes, my husband like flipped his shit on her because we had her over here for the weekend, which was our first mistake. We were like, oh yeah, she's like 6 or 7 now, and she can come over and hang out. We'll buy her a toy or something, and we're gonna be the coolest aunt and uncle in the world. And it was all fun and games until dinner time, when I was like, well, what do you want to eat? So she picked up some chicken tenders. Now, mind you, these are just your normal, run of the mill, everyday chicken tenders. Nothing fancy. And I cooked them, handed it to her. She took one bite and she was like, "These are spicy. I can't eat these. They're so spicy." And I'm like, there is not a single like fleck of pate fleck. Mm,
You struggle so
there's
hard
not.
with words.
I do. I'm on the struggle bus. It's horrible. I don't. I used to be great
I
at words.
know, and
Remember when I was like a walking thesaurus?
thesaurus.
Thesaurus. Yeah. I don't know. Words are hard. So there was not a speck of pepper on those chicken tenders. So I was like, no. And so she's sitting at the table now crying because the chicken tenders are so spicy and they're not. So my husband just gets up and he like took the chicken tender and snapped it in half and threw it in the trash can right in front of her, like out of a pure rage.
I like it.
So yeah, we're such like inexperienced uh, kid watchers.
Babysitters.
we're That's it, kid.
Kid watchers.
I think babysitters should be called kid watchers now. That makes it sound
Creepy.
so predatory and
Yeah, that's
sexual. Yeah,
creepy. Kid watchers.
kid watchers.
Ew.
So yeah, we're very inexperienced and we're not parents. So what my brain told me to do was, well, she's still hungry and now she promised she would eat it. So I took that snapped chicken tender out of the trash can and gave it back to
Oh,
her.
bless it.
I did. I fed her a trash can chicken tender.
Well, I
And
mean,
she was perfectly fine with it when I handed it back. I was like, there's nothing spicy. I had to show her the bag that like said regular chicken tenders
yeah,
for her to
gotta
calm
buy
down.
something.
Right? And then later that night, she told us that she could only sleep if she had a bowl of ice cream. Like it makes her sleepy.
Oh, right, right. It's the oldest rule
Yeah,
in the book.
nice try. Exactly. I think she's like, hey, these two are never around. They're obviously shitty at taking care of kids. I'm gonna pull the wool over their eyes, and they're gonna be like, oh yeah, kids have to have ice cream. Dur dur. Like she thinks we're
Oh my
stupid.
God! I just thought of a story. Speaking
Oh
of
Lord. Go
yeah,
ahead.
speaking of shitty at taking care of kids. So the other night, our friend Marinara was playing Candyland with her kid, and I guess she was cheating, and her kid found out that she was cheating, and literally
Oh
got up
no.
mid game, stormed off, and said, "You don't know how to take care of kids."
Good God.
Like, shit, dude, tough crowd. Like,
Might as well
she's
have
like,
called her
she's
Courtney
like
Love.
4. She's like, you don't know how to take care of kids. I'm like, damn,
Jesus.
take your mom card out and rip it up right now.
Right? Savage as fuck,
Shit.
man. Yeah, now see if that would have been us 20 years ago, we'd have just had our asses handed to
Right.
us.
Speaking of
Hmm.
that very same kid, we went to the mall a couple of months back, and we were, just walking around. I think we were at H&M or something like that. And there was a mannequin, and it was rather tall. It was up on top of like 2 or 3 different little cube things. And we turned our
Mhm.
backs for like 3 seconds. And she's climbed up on this thing, on these cubes, and she's about to pull this mannequin down on top of her. And so
Oh Lord.
Marinara jerks her down. And I mean, she didn't spank her. It was a swat. It wasn't even, it was just a little swat on the butt. And she was like, I told you no, because it's like the fourth time she had told her to quit climbing on mannequins and stuff. And
Right.
I mean, it was crowded. I think it was a holiday weekend or something, but it was crowded in there. And this kid yells at the top of her lungs, Mommy, you said we don't hit people. You just hit me. Don't hit
Oh
me
my God.
anymore. I was like, oh, God, we're going to jail, aren't we? You know, because at that point, you're
Yeah.
just like waiting on some, holier than thou person to be like, did you just hit your child? I'm like, bitch, yeah, and I'll hit you
Right.
too, Brenda. Sit down.
Right. Well, I don't have any room to talk in that department because I did the exact same thing as a kid. For some reason, Big Lots gave me the worst vibes on the planet, and you could not drag my ass into a Big Lots. I hated that store. I don't know what happened to me that traumatized me about Big Lots, but so every time my mom would bring me in there, I would throw a conniption fit. And she told me that one time when she dragged me in there, finally, she put me in the buggy. And not 5 minutes after being in that store, I started crying and screaming and telling strangers that my mom beats me. Because I was like, if I tell people that my mom
They'll get
beats
me out
me,
of
they're
here.
going to take me out. Right, they're going to take me out of the store. I don't care where they take me, but get me out
Oh
of Big
my
Lots.
God. I mean, Big Lots is kind of,
Yeah.
nasty and trashy sometimes, but I mean, not nasty and trashy enough to want to go live in an orphanage.
Right. I would rather have lived in an orphanage at 5 than go into a
Oh
Big
my
Lots.
God. Wow.
I don't know. I love Big Lots now. I'm all about some Big Lots. A couple years ago, I bought 36 boxes of oatmeal for like 12 cents. It was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, I did some like crazy couponing and they were on sale for like 2 cents a piece. I was like, oh yeah, get me some oatmeal. I ate that oatmeal for like 2 years.
Oh my God. That sounds terrible.
I know, right? How poor are you? Well, I ate 12-cent oatmeal for 2 years. How poor do you think I am?
Like just for breakfast or every meal a day or what? Like, how did that work?
I just ate on it till it was gone. I wasn't like that wasn't my life's mission was to eat all this oatmeal. It was just like, oh, hey, there's some of that like oatmeal that I've had forever. I think I'll eat some. Like it just took me 2 years to get through it.
Wow. Well,
Mhm.
speaking of stores, um, me and Tabby Cat the other day, we were in Dillard's looking for a dress, and we thought we were alone, and this lady comes in, and I can hear her like yelling at her kid, and she goes into the stall next to us, and I'm pretty sure she thought she was alone too, because she just started beating her kid, and the kid wouldn't
I
stop
love it.
crying, and she was like, "You're
I'm gonna give you something to
yeah,"
cry
she was
about.
like, "You're gonna stop crying by the time I stop spanking you." And she just kept spanking her, and she wouldn't stop crying. And finally, she stops and she goes, "You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna call your dad."
Aw
I
hell.
was
Now
like,
you're in trouble.
damn, shit's about to get real up in here. She pulls out her cell phone.
Right?
She's calling the dad. The kid's still screaming bloody murder in the background. And she's like, "Jeff, do you know what your kid's doing right now?" And I was like,
What is Jeff
yeah,
gonna
like,
do?
tell me, Jeff, how far away are you? How soon can
Is
you
he gonna
get
like
here?
Skype the
Like,
kid?
are you like, yeah, you gonna like Skype the kid and give it a good talking to? Like, how is this gonna end? Like,
I mean, usually it's just like the look is all it
right.
takes. So can you like FaceTime the look? Is that what parents are
Yeah,
doing
but like
now?
I said, like the look's not working for these kids anymore. It's like they're a different strain. They're a different breed. Like they've mutated
Yeah.
somewhere
I
along
like
the line.
strain because it makes it I like strain because it makes it sound like they're a disease
They
or a
are.
virus.
They're a parasite. They grow inside you and they feed off of you until they finally
For the next
rip apart your insides
18
and
years.
burst forth, and then you're just expected to take care of them for the rest of their lives. Oh, I do have another story about kids in a store and about parents that actually do discipline their kids. This one's actually about my boss.
Nice.
He took his younger kid to Kroger one time, and the kid was being bad, and he put her in timeout inside Kroger.
Nice. Like he picked a
Yes.
corner.
He literally picked a corner, and I mean he didn't go too far, but I mean he went a couple of aisles away, and
Oh God, I thought you were going to say he went a couple hours.
No, he went a couple of aisles away, but he went back to like the little like like the little cubby where it goes back to the employees only and the bathroom and all that. Like that corner right there. He's like, you go and stand in that corner, nose to the wall, and I will be back for you when I think. And so, he goes down the cereal aisle and gets whatever and comes back, and all these ladies are like shooting him all these dirty looks because they're like, oh my God, I can't believe you left your kid. And he's like, unattended. But you know what? She's gonna learn. She's gonna learn today.
Mm-hmm.
And she did.
Oh, so.
And she did.
And she never had to get grounded in the Kroger again.
Right. I asked my mom if she had any stories about me, and she said that she did have a really embarrassing time with me at the store once. She said that we were at, and I think it was Kroger. We were at Kroger, and there was this very, 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 very large woman. Not pregnant, just very large. And I think this must have been like pretty soon after the like where do babies come from talk, because I was on that whole like babies grow in mommy's tummy thing. And she said that I said just really, really loud where the lady could hear, Mommy, how many babies are in her tummy?
Oh no.
Yeah. And she's like, the lady shot me like a look like, aren't you gonna do something? Like, aren't you gonna smack your kid? And she was just like, all I could do was just apologize profusely and pray to God that the floor would open up and swallow me. It was just so embarrassing. I'm like, sorry.
So this is where me and your mom differ, because I would have just like looked at her and been like, well, kid, I would say approximately 5 maybe. What do you think? And then we'd both get our ass beat.
Right.
If you're going down, if I'm coming down, you're coming down with me. Now, the only other story that I've got on here was actually technically both of ours. And I don't remember which cousin of yours it was, but I think it was the youngest out of your aunt and uncle's like litter that they had. Okay, I thought it was Jaden, but is that one of them?
That's the one that just graduated.
Oh, that's what I thought. I thought it was the same one, but no, there's another one.
There's another one after that.
Really?
Dylan, yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant another one after Dylan. God. And I'm like, what the hell? She's been hiding it this whole time. This one's just like too much of a trouble.
I joked about it the other day because I was like, aren't you going to like get fixed or something? And I made a joke about her being pregnant. And she's like, don't joke about that. All I have to do is walk past him and I get pregnant. I'm like, well, y'all better move into separate houses or something. Do something about that.
Right? Well, I mean, it makes sense. As a kid, like teenager growing up, I wanted to hit up your uncles so hard. It's creepy now to think about it.
It was creepy then.
Okay, yeah, it was creepy then too. He was hot. Okay, it's not that he was hot. It was that he fit my ideal of a guy that I would never find here. Does that make sense?
No, I still can't get past how fucked up and nasty it is.
Well, it's nasty to you because he's your uncle,
nasty.
But he was cool.
He's not cool.
he listened to the same kind of music I did. He had long hair, like he was really funny. It's that kind of thing. And God, I hope that none of your family hears this because this is like so cringe now.
Yeah, see,
Oh
that's
God.
your kind of luck. Like the one time that they decide, oh, you know what, I'm gonna listen to Courtney and Kristen's podcast. Let me just pop right in here, and it's gonna be this, and they're gonna be like, I knew that girl was fucked up this whole damn time.
I know, right? She's horny on Maine. This is awful. Yeah, because that seems to be what happens every time. If we name drop anybody and they've never listened before in their entire
That's the
life,
day they pick to
that
listen.
it is, and they'll listen to it like five
Yep.
times. They'll download it. They'll repost it.
Yep.
Like, are you kidding me?
They'll wind up on our number one listener report. Shout out.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's fun.
We see you.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, we have a number one listener, and they never fail to listen every single week, and we know that we can count on you, and we super super appreciate it because as long as we put out a podcast, we know that we will have one hit at
Yes.
least. Now, the other like 10 or 15 hits are all going to be CJ because she likes listening to herself talk.
I listened one
But
time to check your work, to check and make sure that
okay,
you've
to
done
check
it
in.
right. I mean, somebody's got to check it.
Yeah, because you know what right is when it comes to
No,
producing.
I just want to make sure I didn't get cut off, or you didn't cut out the one part that makes it funny, or some shit. I don't know. I like to hear the
The
finished
fact that there's
product.
only
Get
one,
off my dick.
right? The fact that there's only one funny part that makes it funny is
No, I mean, I was talking about
amazing.
like each individual story, like the
Oh,
hook.
I thought you meant like the whole
No,
podcast.
like the hook, the punchline of each story. Like,
Yeah, I gotcha. The meat
yeah,
of
it's
it.
always good to have a second set of ears on something.
Right. Well, now that we completely derailed into me being a creeper,
Yeah.
the youngest one, um, we were at CJ's aunt's house up in Ohio, which they are all safe, thank goodness. These tornadoes just recently ripped through the whole area. There was some property damage, unfortunately, but everybody is a-okay. So that's good news. But we were at this house and we were hanging out in the pool, and that was like I think that was the first in-ground pool I had ever been in. I'm like, this is so bougie as fuck. I'm so
I
excited.
mean,
Like,
I won't lie, it still is bougie.
exactly. Like, why don't we go up there anymore?
Because the pool hasn't been opened in I don't know how long. It needs to be replaced, basically. It's got
Oh
a huge
no.
crack in the liner. There's trees growing in it. It's bad.
I am very
I
upset
know.
about this.
I know, me too.
God, well, when we become super, super famous and start actually monetizing this shit, we're gonna start sending money up
Right.
to your aunt.
Yes.
The pool repair
Yes.
fund.
Because when
Exactly.
it's a
So,
pool that big and it's an in-ground pool, I mean, it's like probably $25,000 to fix.
yeah, it's gonna be a pretty
Yeah.
penny. Yeah. So we were hanging out in this super bougie ass pool, and her little cousin kept like running in and out of the house, but he would never shut the door behind him. So he would like come out, leave it wide open, go back in, leave it wide open over and over. He was doing it for probably a solid 15 minutes. And finally, her aunt turned around and was like, hey, shut that door or else. Like, I'm going to beat your ass and you're going to be grounded and you're not going to get to play in the pool and you're going to be grounded upstairs. Like, quit it. And he turns around, and unfortunately, we corrupted this kid too, because me and CJ have this really bad habit of when we like get into something, we will repeat it a billion times because we think it's funny and we'll laugh at each other. And at that point, there was a Rodney Carrington skit that had just recently come out on like Comedy Central or whatever. And he had this story, and you know what? I'm gonna link the video
Yes.
of this comedy bit to the website. This will be our featured video on the website. And he tells this story about how his wife or girlfriend or whatever like wanted to slip a finger up his asshole, and she's like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it when you're sleeping or something. I don't know exactly. Like I said, I'll post it. But the kid or You just said the word a few seconds ago. Now I can't remember. The punchline was "Dream on, hooker, dream the fuck on." So, but he says it like this very country, like "Dream on, hooker, dream the fuck on." And so me and CJ were like repeating that. That was our answer to everything that weekend. And we're not really conscious of the fact that people can hear us. We never have been, hence why we're doing this. Um, some people just have that like, shh, there are people around here that can hear you. They can eavesdrop on your conversation. You're like, good. Somebody hand me a
Right.
microphone. Like, I'm down with that.
Let
But
them hear
especially
this
when it comes to
shit.
kids, right? Especially when there's kids around, like a lot of adults like to hush hush and they'll edit what they're saying and they won't cuss around kids. At the age of 15, we didn't give a shit about
No,
that, and
let
we
them
still
know
don't.
how the real world is. I ain't censoring shit for your
Exactly.
candy ass.
It builds character, damn it. And so, yeah, apparently that kid had picked up on our dream on hooker because when his mom told him to quit with the fucking door, he turns around and looks her dead in the eye and just goes, "Dream on, hooker," and walks away. So, yeah, we got this kid in trouble because, of course, she like snatched him up by his weave and like beat the shit
His
out of
weave.
him. Right? She snatched
I
him.
was about to say,
And
what side of the family are you talking about here?
right? It's just a phrase. But yeah, she snatched him up real quick and beat the shit out of that kid right there on the deck of the pool. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if she had like a pool noodle in one hand or something.
Probably.
It's been a long time. So yeah, we accidentally got CJ's cousin's ass beat because he repeated us.
Yes. Oh,
But it is kind of his
yeah, it
fault.
is. I mean, he should have known. Speaking of, this is so good. Speaking of kids getting their asses beat, so I'm terrible for laughing so hard at this, but I can't help it. It was fucking hysterical. So this is probably, I don't know, several months ago. I'm sitting in line at the bank in the drive-through, and this lady's in the row next to me, and she pulls up just a little bit and stops, and she gets out of the car and like walks around to the side and opens up the back seat, and there's two kids in car seats. And they're like probably, I mean, they're old enough to, like I was talking about earlier, they can unbuckle and get out themselves, and they've gotten
Mhm.
out. And I had my window rolled down because I just put the little tube in the sucker upper thing,
Sucker
Yeah,
upper thing. I love it.
you put the little box in the tube and it goes that thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I've got my windows down and I can hear. And she opens up the door and she goes, "Damn it, son of a bitch! Why can't you pieces of shit stay where I put you?"
I love
She
it.
starts beating them both. She's like leaned in because she's trying to beat the one on the other side of the car too, and as she can't really reach, so she's like stuck in, and her ass is hanging out of the car. And at my bank, they have like the speaker and like a little computer screen where you can see the teller inside the bank. And she had
Right.
just flashed on there, and she heard the first thing she heard was, "Damn it, son of a bitch, why can't you pieces of shit stay where I put you?" And her eyes got so wide, and she goes, "Oh my god, what's happening out there?" And I was like, I was just looking, I was like, "Dude, you're missing it." I was like, "Come up to the window and look over to your left. You could probably see it. She's beating these kids. She put a smack down on
That's
them. It was amazing."
that's probably the best day of work she ever had.
I'm not even kidding you. I put both hands out the window and I applauded her. I did. Because I felt
Nice.
like she needed some support. Because I was like, I can just tell what kind of day you've been having with these damn kids. And I just feel like, like woman to woman, like you need some support. So I applauded her. And she kind of like, when
There.
she heard me clapping, she kind of like jerked back into reality. And she was like, "Oh, I have an audience."
Right?
It was amazing.
Shit.
It was pretty awesome.
Well, I'm all out of stories, so the rest are yours.
Let's see. Do I have any more? Oh, well, speaking of beating kids again, why are all my stories about beating kids? Telling Tabby Cat that we were doing this subject tonight, and I asked her if she had any stories, and she said that when her kids first started, I guess it was summer football because it was last summer. Um, they got like all the parents got in like a big group chat, and the coach had given out the phone numbers, so nobody had anybody else's number saved. It was just a bunch of random people, so everybody was like, sounding off of saying what their name was and what their kids' names were. And she's in this group chat, and I guess I don't really know how many kids are on this team, but I'm assuming it's quite a big group of parents. And she said, I'm Tabitha, and then she sent it, and then she was about to type out, like my kids are, and say their names, and then somebody else typed in real quick, and they said, "Oh yeah, you're the crazy flip flop mom," and so she told me
Oh,
that
shit.
story, and I was like, "What does that mean, the crazy flip flop mom?" And she said, "Well, they're."
She beat the shit out of her kids
She
with a
did.
flip flop.
She said they were at practice, and she's up in the stands, and it was the very first practice. And I mean, her kids are wild. They are wild. They cannot be tamed. And so, they're out there acting a fool. They're not listening to the coach. They're not listening to anybody. They're just like tackling, drop kicking people. They're like little fucking mini Chuck Norrises out there, just like drop kicking motherfuckers and dropping people down to the ground, and just way too rough for the age that these kids are. And the coach just kept yelling at him, and I mean, the coach can't beat him. And so here comes
Right.
Tabitha hauling ass down the bleachers. She's running down the bleachers, taking her shoes off as she's going. She jumps the fence, gets out onto the field in front of all these parents, first practice, and she beats her kids with flip-flops right there in front,
Oh,
right down the 50-yard line, y'all. Just right there in front of God and everybody. So yeah, they don't even call
well,
her by her name. They call her crazy flip-flop mom. So
nice.
yeah,
I mean, if you're going to be known for something, you might as well go all
right.
out.
That's exactly what I said. That's
Nice.
all I got.
Well, what did we learn this
Excuse
episode?
me. I learned that next time I'm gonna try to not be sick and not sound like a man.
Yeah,
I also learned that, if you're gonna beat somebody, the flip flop sounds pretty good.
right. I learned that Marinara don't know how to take care of a kid.
Right.
Her kid.
Her mom
And
card has been effectively inactivated
by her own
by her own
4-year-old.
kid. Yes.
Yes, I love it. Well, next show coming up, maybe sooner than 2 weeks, actually, because this next one is our 20th
Hell
episode.
yeah.
I cannot believe, yeah, I can't believe we've lasted this long. This is crazy. Especially since it took us like 2 years to get the first 5 episodes rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were slacked a little bit, but now we are rolling on to 20. And Miss Tabby Cat, flip flop crazy mom, she is having a birthday party this weekend. And unfortunately, I can't attend. But what we're going to do is CJ will be there with her, and they're going to be rocking out at a hotel. And so I am going to Skype them, and we're going to record an episode. Technically, I mean, it's not live, but it'll be not the way we typically record. It'll be recorded via video. We're also going to put that on YouTube. So it seems like we only put YouTube videos up when Tabby's
Right.
involved.
Not just any hotel, mind you. We're going all out, bougie as fuck. We're going to the Embassy Suite.
Oh, the one in
No,
Franklin?
the one by the airport. So we can be close to
Oh, yeah,
downtown.
that's right. Oh, gotcha. You guys gonna like live it up downtown
Yeah,
too?
we'll probably go downtown Saturday night or something. I don't know.
Isn't that a country song?
We're gonna go downtown Saturday night.
Yeah, isn't that a country song?
Mm,
Downtown Saturday night.
small
Or is it
town
hometown
Saturday
Saturday?
night.
Small town. I was
Kind
close.
of the
This is, I
complete
don't listen.
opposite of downtown.
Okay, well, it had town in it, and I don't listen to country much, so you're lucky I got
Good
that
job.
much. Exactly. Well, so, as I was saying, we're going to have our 20th episode special, guest starring Tabby again for her birthday shenanigans. So stay tuned for that. Also, stay tuned to our social media and our website. I'll be putting up that Rodney Carrington skit on the website for our video, and we'll throw up that picture of that horrible wall at O'Charlie's that had to suffer through those kids.
That's terrible.
So, yep. And of course, as always, if you've got any stories whatsoever, it doesn't have to uh, fit in with whatever we're talking about. It can be anything at all. You can always slide into our DMs. We're on Twitter, Facebook,
We'll archive that shit.
Instagram. Yeah, exactly. We'll either archive it or we'll just do a special segment of, hey, this is
An
funny.
emergency podcast.
Do a shout out. Exactly. I know this is like a super, super long shot, but if anyone wants to like pay us for like advertising, if you've got like a small business or, you're, what is it called? What, 31, those little bags? Or if you're hawking your Avon or Mary Kay or it works or whatever they're called, then let us know and we can work out a deal for some advertising so that all like 20 of our listeners, who knows, we can point them your way. Long shot, but it's worth a shot.
Yeah, you never know. And I mean, that our one like very, very loyal #1 listener every single time. I'm sure he's got to be sharing.
Hey,
You never
yeah.
know.
Well, we don't know if it's a he or she. We just know that there's that one hit.
True. I don't know. I always just default to he. Call me sexist. Whatever.
Yeah, I guess just like you like call every car he.
Yeah.
And all that jazz.
Yeah. I guess I'm sexist.
So, I guess so. How dare you? Hashtag him too.
Wow.
I don't know.
Slide into our DMs and tell me how offended you are by me being so sexist.
Oh yeah, send us hate mail. That's my favorite. We will always 100%. Yeah, we will 100% always read that on our podcast.
Yes.
Like, please give us something because we think it's hilarious and we know that everyone else will too.
What's that they always do on what's it called? Reddit.
Oh, like mean tweets?
Roast me.
Oh, yeah, roast me on Reddit. We ought to do something like that sometime. Just be like, let loose. Kill us on Twitter. So, again, we're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, occasionally YouTube. You can find us on podcast.com, anchor.fm. We are on iTunes, not Spotify, SoundCloud. I can work on getting on Spotify. It's worth a shot, but I think we've got enough. Right. You can reach contact us from our Facebook page. So if you're like super fucking lazy and you're just like, I just want to go to Facebook, you can find everything there, links to everything. So that is where you can find us. And until next time, remember, always say yes to adventures because they become stories. And in the end, that is all we are. Good night, and until next time.
This concludes our broadcast day. Good night, and God bless America.